Hey everybody, and welcome to the Grace Pathway Podcast. I'm the host, Matt Roberts, and we're glad that you're joining us today. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a comment. We're always really blessed by the stories that people are telling us, and what these stories are empowering people, encouraging them, and blessing people. So we are excited to continue in that today. I've invited special guests, Luke and Trista Ruggiero, to come. Welcome to the space. How are we feeling? You guys doing okay? She says,
for the most part.
For the most part. I would say welcome to this space, but we were talking earlier that, Luke, you've actually know this space. The walls are a little bit smaller, but you actually went to school in this room.
Yeah, I know it well. This was my 7th grade classroom.
7th grade classroom. What school were you going to?
It was Redding Christian.
Shout out to Redding Christian. Anybody watching Redding Christian, we love you. Most of our pastors' kids go there, and you guys as kids also go to Redding Christian. So growing up in a Christian school. We'll get to that. But for those of you who don't know Luke and Trista, they've been a part of Pathway for a long time. I love them very much. I met them a few years ago, and they're a super cool couple. I had a man crush, thought this guy was awesome. I was like, I want to become friends with this guy. So I'm admitting it to the public right now. It was totally cool, totally not weird. And
this is a one-sided thing.
It's very one-sided.
Oh my gosh.
This doesn't work both ways.
Wow, making it weird already, bro.
Wow.
Apparently, it's like that.
Not that I don't like
more of a brotherhood.
Not that I don't like you. There's just no crush.
Okay,
there's no crush.
That's fine.
So we're gonna leave that out of it.
I'll accept it. Anyway, super cool guy. And I really. They've been serving in young adults now for over a year now, or coming up on a year.
Coming up on a year.
Yeah. And Trista's been one of our people who meets with a bunch of our young ladies, and we'll get to know them and then help them get connected in Pathway. But then you guys lead a bi-weekly small group, which is fantastic. And a lot of our young adults are a part of it, and they love it. Mm-hmm. And it's been so awesome to have you guys do that. But I want to backtrack a little bit, and let's go back to, obviously you guys are married. How long have you guys been married for?
Well, we've been married for a little over 20 years.
Oh, hit the 20-year mark.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you guys have kids together?
Yes.
How many kids do we have?
We have 3 boys.
3 boys.
Yeah.
And what we got age-wise? We got a young adult.
We do. We have a son that's 19 who's in college, just new this year in college. And then we have a 16-year-old and we have a 9-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 3 kids, 3 boys, wide range.
Yeah.
House is always busy. And you guys are also the sport family where your boys they're always hooping, playing basketball. And it's fun to watch. It's fun to see them do that.
Yeah.
And then was that like always been like the family cult, like we're always going to play sports, or has it kind of been like?
Well, they kind of watched me play soccer and hockey, a little bit of basketball growing up, and they just eventually landed on. Well, Landon played soccer for a long time, but once they got the feel for the gym, the crowd, they all love basketball.
It came to basketball.
So that's where they landed on, and been stuck there for quite some time now.
But Kellen started later. He didn't start till fifth grade, right?
Yeah, well, he started getting interested when Landon got interested. So
following the big brother's footsteps and all that. I love that. But I know you guys have been a part of how long you guys been a part of Pathway now?
When I can't.
Like right before COVID, like a year, maybe a year before.
2019.
Yeah, that's 2019. You guys came over. But let's rewind. Let's talk about growing up. You guys from this area, born and raised in Redding. I mean, you said you went to school in Redding Christian.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in San Diego, and I love to lay claim to that, but I moved here at a very young age.
The best Mexican food ever.
Yeah, but no, I grew up here, and been here for a long time.
Okay, been here a long time. Just about you.
Same. I was born in Redding. I was born at Mercy Hospital, so I have been here
deep roots,
quite literally my whole life. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So for 40 years, I've been in Redding.
Did you ever get the Redding fever? I would call it island fever for those of you like live in Redding and they're just like, I need to get out of Redding.
Yeah, absolutely. And Luke and I definitely have tried. I feel like we've tried, but I feel like those doors all just like always closed.
Yeah.
And so we are here.
You are here.
Yeah.
Yes, you're here. God has you here for a reason.
He has us here. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit. I mean, did you guys grow up in Christian homes? Was that a normal? Because I think sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. I mean, Redding is an interesting spot where it almost feels, I call it like the belt buckle that like broke off from like the Bible Belt and landed in Redding because there's so many churches and it's almost kind of normal to be a Christian in Redding.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case for everybody.
Right.
So just for you, did you grow up in a Christian home?
I Not until I was 9 did that come into my life.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
I come from a broken home. My parents divorced when I was 5. And so it's pretty chaotic childhood, just going back and forth. And then when my mom remarried when I was 9 is when we started going to church.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then that, I don't know, that journey has kind of looked a little.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's taken on many different angles, things like that.
Totally. Like I was going to church, but even though I was going to church, I don't think I fully understood Jesus at 9.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I was getting all the stories, but I was still coming home and telling my mom, "Hey, I just learned at school that we came from apes." You know, so
Sure.
yeah.
Oh yeah, going to church and hearing one thing and then going to public
school and hearing another
Yep.
is confusing.
Right.
So
okay,
yeah.
we'll come back to that in a second.
Yeah.
What about for you? The Christian home? Or?
Yeah, I did grow up in a Christian home. So I was fortunate in that way. I mean, my upbringing was pretty solid. Not like we didn't have, there were some unhappy times. There was
Sure.
some scars left
family.
over from that. But yeah, like we're imperfect people raised by other imperfect people, and ultimately, I mean, I was able to play whatever sports I wanted. I was able to go to a Christian school, and my parents gave me a foundation in a church, and they stuck their stuff out and stayed together. So
Yeah.
I feel very fortunate
Yeah.
to have that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool to have that example, even though it's not always perfect, right? No
Yeah.
family is, as we all
Right.
know. But so when did it go? Like, when did the light bulb moment go off for you? Was it at 9, Trista, or was it later on that the light bulb, you started to connect the dots a little bit?
I feel like I took that walk, down the aisle, to accept Jesus or whatever. Jesus was going to come live in my heart is what they say. Probably when I was 10, But I feel like for me, it probably became real in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, was there like a one moment, or was it kind of just like a course of a lot of things happening?
I just remember
culmination?
I loved camps.
Yeah.
So I would go to the church camps, and I just remember I could just feel Jesus there. I don't know. I just felt his presence, and I knew he was with me, but that does not mean I was a mess.
Sure.
So I think that doesn't mean I had it all figured out then, but I just knew Jesus was real.
Yeah.
Probably in high school.
But that was the time you're like, but I need Jesus. Right?
Oh, I knew I needed Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's so true. I mean, I think for your credit, I mean, I think there's so many people would be like, I need to get right, or I need to not be a mess before I can come to Jesus.
Yeah.
And they believe that lie, except Jesus didn't come for the healthy and the holy. He came for the broken.
Yeah,
and the
he
sick,
did.
right?
But I think I did believe that even a little bit, because also like growing up, it was kind of like a legalistic church. So I definitely did have some of that mindset of
Sure.
like it was very works based. And so for a little while, like I really did believe the lie that I would never be good enough for God. That was something I was always striving for. How can I be good enough for God? I wanted him to love me. I wanted to believe that, but I never really could. Actually, it wasn't really until we came to Pathway that I feel like God really drove that home. Like, no, you're just loved,
Wow.
So it was a lot of years of
Trying to earn.
Exhausting. Or, yeah, it is exhausting. And a lot of, sometimes you just give up.
Yeah.
Trying.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And like, well, what? I've already messed up. Might as well just embrace it and embrace the garbage, and that's my new normal.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that and that feeling of stuck, because I think that's the devil's work. It really is, because it's a trap of the mind, and it's poor theology combined with good intentions but bad execution of living for God, living holy for God, all of that. Not a bad thing, but when you're trying to do it on your own strength to earn blessing rather than from blessing, it's backwards in how God designed it. We were never created to do it that way. So, wow. So high school summer camp is when the light bulb kind of went off.
Yeah.
Something about being away from your phone, or back then,
I think we had phones back then.
Phone, but I don't even know that I had a phone. But I think just being away from, honestly, like just my family and being away from everything, someplace I could just go.
Sure.
And be without any, because I would go by myself. I didn't care if I had friends with me. I just wanted to go.
Wow,
just to away.
Escape and get away and head into something. And there's something powerful about breaking away from the norm.
Yeah.
And breaking out of your rhythms and routines and getting away to a mountaintop experience.
Yeah.
That is just like you said, I know Jesus loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And that to feel that and know it is that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So growing up Christian for you, one of my favorite questions though is when did it become your faith?
There's some similarities with my story as there are with Trista's, but because I was saved when I was 3, and I have a little bit of a memory of that, but not like in great detail. And really, like the first time I can remember feeling like my faith was my own was probably here in junior high. So that's interesting to be in this classroom. But like Trista, I grew up in a lot of different legalistic circles, and so it was definitely more about performance, what we looked like, make sure your shirt's tucked in. I don't know, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a teacher here, actually, that was pretty influential. And while it became real at that time, I'd say probably for the next 20 years, it wasn't very real to me. But that foundation was still there. And similar to Trista, it really wasn't until like we came to Pathway. And it felt like God kind of shook us a little bit to like, it's not going to go on like this anymore. It's going to be real.
Wow.
And so up until 3-4 years ago, that's probably the time where I would say it really became real to me.
Yeah, that's powerful. It's one of those things like you. Doesn't change God's love for you, whether or not you're living for Him or not. He loves you, and getting saved is the first step. But it's one of those things where I think so often people are like, well, if I'm not living perfectly, then God's not with me. And it's like, no, He is. And then, but I love that it's you got to that place where now you recognize it's like it's freeing. I'm curious coming into that space where kind of having to rewire how you think about love and rewire how you think about grace.
Completely, yeah.
Like, what was that like for you guys?
Eye-opening.
Eye-opening, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like, man, what have I been doing my whole life? Was, and obviously it improved our life together a lot too.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It changed everything for us. And honestly, I was just so fascinated by everything we were learning here at Pathway. Like, I love to read, so I went and bought all the books, all Bill's books, all the ones on grace, just everything, trying to just really get it in my mind, like identity, like who am I?
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, I had it in my identity in all the wrong things,
Right.
And I think coming here has just been, well, Jesus, He changes everything,
Right.
Yeah.
It's so good. So you grew up in a Christian home. You're at high school. The light bulb moment goes off. Where does your stories collide?
Oh yeah.
in all of this?
You tell a little bit.
Something like that. You tell it best.
Well, it's so cute.
Oh,
All right. Well,
Here we go.
Well, it started here. I went to school here. It was my 8th grade year.
That's crazy in this building.
Yeah, and my brother and sister were just down the road at Liberty High School, and so I would walk over there to catch a ride with my brother after school. So I walk over there one day, and I used to wear this like bright blue Hawaiian shirt with all these pink flowers on it. So I still love the Hawaiian shirts.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's a cool guy mentality, and that's what I meant by man crush. All right, keep going.
He's confident.
That's what I'm saying.
Totally.
I'm like, I want to be like him one day.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to be. Anyway, continue. Cool Hawaiian shirt. Love it.
Yeah. So we're in the Hawaiian shirt. No idea that it was going to stand out this way, but I walk over there, and there's high school girls everywhere. So it's like, I don't know. I'm in 8th
and
grade.
you're in 8th grade right now.
I'm playing it cool, but inside I'm a little
I did not
nervous.
know you were in 8th grade.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, she didn't
Yeah.
know. I looked old for my age.
Dude. All right. Moth to a flame, Hawaiian shirt all day. All right, keep going.
Yeah. So I don't know. I walked by and or maybe I was sitting down. I don't remember,
You're
but
sitting down.
yeah, she came up to me and told me she liked my shirt, and inside I was going crazy, but on the outside I was like, yeah, I know it's pretty cool. And so it was really just a brief interaction right there, and after that we didn't really have any communication for years until maybe it was actually it was the next year, wasn't it?
I don't know. You started writing me notes.
Yeah,
like
so
through
her
my sister.
she switched schools. I ended up going to Liberty the next year.
You were chasing her, got
and
it.
she went to Anderson, but her sister was still there, and I knew that. So at some point, and I don't know, we dated other people in between this, but like there was still something there. So I would write her notes, and actually there used to be a Sunday night celebration service here that we both went to. So we would see each other sometimes there, but never talked to each other, just, from afar. But I would write her these notes, and I kind of went on off and on for a year or two. And then there was a rumor she was coming back to Liberty her senior year, and I was going to be a junior. And I was actually going to switch schools and go to Foothill. But I heard that, and that was definitely in the back of my mind. And I was like, yeah, I think I'll stick it out, And I had friends there, so of course it was for that too.
Whoa.
But then it was the first day of school, and I was pretty positive she was coming. So I decided to show up to school like 10 minutes late because they do this opening thing with all those schools in one place. And so that way she knew for sure I was there because I was going to walk through the front door, burst through so she could see me. And it had happened. It worked perfectly. She saw me, and shortly after that, she broke up with her boyfriend. No, that was a totally separate thing.
It was a while.
But yeah, I think at some point in the beginning of that school year, she was sitting somewhere in the like lunch area in the yard or something, and I noticed she looked a little sad, so I walked up and asked her what was going on, and we hadn't really talked up until this point.
Just through paper and pen.
Other than the shirt incident. And so
wow, so years have gone by. And you've written. You had a little notebook scene written all the
some communication through siblings. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever write back?
I don't know. I don't think I did I? Like, I'm positive.
No, you did.
Did I write back?
Yeah, there was a couple.
Why can I not remember? I just
Wow,
remember
I was
yours.
gonna say you're just dedicated here, writing these letters to this older class.
Dedicated.
He
was dedicated. He was, but I don't know. Yeah, it's really sweet.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, I walk up to her and she's sitting there and sat down and we talked, and I can't remember if you'd just broken up with your boyfriend or something had happened, and I was like, you were crying, but I was like, perfect. And I swooped in, and
you did.
Yeah, it's been 23 years, 24 years, whatever it's been now. Just, no problems, perfect, easy.
As it always is.
Totally. Marriage is easy.
Yeah. Adding kids in the mix, even easier.
Totally.
Oh my goodness. Does that line up with your side of the story as well? That's awesome.
I think so. Yeah. I remember sitting there that day, and it wasn't just breaking up with a boyfriend. I had other stuff going on too, family stuff, and just being really sad. Like, it was right outside of cheerleading practice, and I had sat down, and he just walks up and sits down next to me and starts talking to me, and then it kind of went from there. I mean, I started getting him to do my homework, and
Sorry, I forgot about that.
yeah, I did all that stuff. Any time I could spend with him at lunch or anything.
Wow.
Any excuse to.
Yeah, we kind of became inseparable at that point.
We were inseparable.
A very long time.
Yeah.
Wow. So your senior year, your junior year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually I forgot, but I left school a year early so that I could graduate at the same time.
Did you really?
And I took some test or something, but.
You went back.
I did go back, but I was like, no, I know. I mean, we got engaged in high school, so it was a whole thing.
I did not know this.
Yeah,
we caused a lot of drama.
Yeah, we caused some problems.
We've caused a lot of problems in this town, Matt.
We did a lot of things wrong.
I did not know this, but this story just got even better.
It's embarrassing.
No, are you kidding me? This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is your story.
It
all right?
is.
That's powerful.
Well, I remember sitting down
good.
with my basketball coach, and he was like, so you're leaving me, you're not coming back next year. And I was like, yeah. He's like, I heard you got engaged. I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, I guess you're all grown up, And I left. I went to college for a semester. We were both at Shasta, and I missed playing sports. I missed my friends.
Yeah.
And so I actually went back for my second semester and got to play my basketball season.
Okay.
But at that point we were pretty committed, and a year later we got married.
Wow. So you guys were how old when you guys got married?
So we're 20.
I
we
had
had just turned 20.
turned 20, like that week of.
And I guess me too, because I'm only
a
2
couple
months
months
older.
before, yeah.
We're clarifying this. Just
Yeah, I'm
two
only
months.
2 months older than him.
I'm not that big year gap that we
No.
keep hearing with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're both 40.
Yeah, we're
Like, not just me.
Oh, you're admitting that
not
on
just
air.
me.
On air. So you guys are married at 20, which some people, and high school sweethearts, and you jump into marriage. What was that like?
Oh.
A disaster.
Well, I would say, like, Luke and I, like, to put it in, like, a nice way, Luke and I were a really good example of having a lot of childhood trauma, never dealing with it, a lot of stuff, a lot of dysfunction, and carrying that right into our marriage, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Do you guys do premarital or anything?
But it was not good.
Kind of.
Okay. It was not good.
Wasn't the best experience.
It wasn't pathway premarital counseling. Like, it wasn't great. And I think we just had a lot of undealt with stuff.
Sure.
And a lot of times what you do is you carry that right into your marriage, and then you watch that play out, and it definitely did in ours. Yeah. So.
Well, I think it can be a lie about marriage that this other person will complete me.
Totally.
Or that Jerry Maguire, he's a liar. We love the movie, but it's like that romantic, like two halves make a whole. And that's not what the Bible talks about.
No.
And even like marriage can be the greatest gift on earth.
Yeah.
But it also can be the most revealing gift as well. And so to come at it, it makes sense. It doesn't surprise me that it might have been more of a challenge. It doesn't have to be, right? Yeah. But it makes sense knowing that you guys were not set up for success in that regard, and kind of hoping that the unmet expectations, unrealistic expectations, identity stuff, all of it. So what was, without going, we don't have to go crazy deep, and all your premarital problems and all that. What was, 20, but to make it 20 years, congratulations. Like, that's not to knock all, but that comes with, that's war tested, and that's also, but you guys seem
it's fought for.
Yeah, marriage
in prayer
is, keep going.
It's just it's good. I mean, we wouldn't be where we are without Jesus. Jesus is the reason Luke and I are together, and we are who we are because of Jesus.
Right.
Like, he changes everything. He changed our whole life. And I mean, I don't know if you want to go into what it looks like.
I would just say that much of our marriage was volatile. the highs and the lows. I mean, just
totally.
I mean,
yeah.
No, I mean, and that, I think a lot of people can relate to that. And that's why I appreciate you guys taking time today to sit down with us and have this conversation, because I think that what the power of stories, what it does is it reminds people that they're not alone.
Absolutely.
If they're on the verge of wanting to get married, but they haven't dealt with stuff, or they think premarital is a joke. Like, I've already, I'm like, we're already sleeping together, we're already living together. Like, why go through it?
Absolutely.
Like, you're robbing yourself of setting your marriage up for what God has in store for you.
Yeah.
And go for it. You're gonna say
something.
Well,
I just like to say that Luke and I did everything the wrong way, and so, but I think because of that, like, I have such a deep appreciation of what God has done in our life, because he has so much grace even for that. Like, you can go ahead and, like, screw it up, Trista, but I still have grace for that, you know? And I think, but it's just crawling out from underneath that, like, that shame, and letting God just have it all, you know? And I think that's what he's done
I think we quietly each lived in that, like, without really ever addressing it with each other. I mean, when I say, like, after that experience in junior high, I kind of turned my back on that for 20 years. It wasn't like I just was like, yeah, God, you're out. It was, slowly over time, like, going to church and, you know what, this is impossible. I can't do this. And then eventually I think we left the church we were at, and we didn't really go anywhere for a while. And I was completely okay with that. God wasn't really a part of my life. I know that wasn't really her story, but for me it was, I give up. I can't meet this goal. I'm gonna do me. Yeah. And having that type of dynamic in our marriage was obviously not good.
Yeah.
And now just being able to recognize, well, yeah, I'm super imperfect, like all kinds of problems, and yet God loves me, and we both have the same goal in mind. Like, we're at least on the same page there now, where we didn't used to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because, like, how God was not really, like, a part of Luke's life, I feel like he was a part of mine, and it was, I think, praying for years. I mean, I can go back and look at my journals journals and just see praying for my marriage, praying for my family, praying for, and so to just see what God's done, I don't know, I can look back.
Gives you appreciation, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that's the power of, that's why the Bible talks about communion, to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also can apply to you personally, not just the cross and what he's done on there, but what has God done for us individually in our families.
Yes.
And especially as parents, and wanting to see our best for our kids as well.
Yeah.
So obviously your timeline means you guys were having kids in the midst of a lot of the volatile marriage status.
Oh, yeah.
Which just can enhance and can even drive a wedge even more so.
Yeah.
Was that what you guys experienced, or did that try and bring you guys tighter in some ways? What it was having kids in the midst of kind of an unequally yoked marriage?
It was a little bit of both. At times it was a distraction, and then at times it was just a further complication. It was like, oh no, this is even harder.
Wow.
Yeah. But at the same time, we had something that we both loved. That was something we had in common. Like, we loved our kids and loved raising them.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what you were going to say something
I
about
don't
that.
know. I agree with you. It made it harder sometimes, but then there was a common ground. And then I think I threw my identity into being a mom. Like, I wanted to be a really good mom. I didn't want, my kids to grow up and my childhood was hard. And so I didn't want it to be like that for them. But little did I know that what you don't heal from carries out, and you look back now, and we'll get into it later, but it's part of why I love Pathway, because they've also come alongside our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And our kids have also got to see life change.
Wow.
Life changed, and I don't know. It's powerful.
Yeah. Well, let's go there. Let's talk about coming to Pathway.
Mm-hmm.
Your boys were how old? 5 years ago. So they're one of them's in high school, one of them's in junior high. COVID obviously just happened, or the world shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And what brought you? What was it that okay, we're gonna go to Pathway?
Well, we came right before COVID, and I think we had. Actually, I talked you into it. As much as I didn't really want God in my life, I kind of knew that you did, and I knew that things weren't great between us. And somewhere deep in my psychology, I know God's going to help that, and so I did want to come here.
Wow.
But what's interesting is I didn't really want to come here. I wanted to sit in the back and check football scores, which is what I did for about the first year.
Because you can hide here if you want to, and we did that well.
Let's be honest. It was easy to
Mm-hmm.
hide. We came from a small church, and I didn't want to be involved in anything because it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And so I mostly came here because I didn't want to be involved in anything. And it's hilarious now, right? But
and I'm his wife. Let's do it.
Yeah. So anyway, we sat back there for a solid year, me checking football scores, and she really ended up loving it. And then COVID happened.
Right.
And that just delayed the whole process. It was like we went home, and then it was like the perfect excuse to never come back. I think the doors opened up, and we were like, yeah, we're good with TV, and we did that for a long time.
Church online.
Watching it, yeah. And then
which a lot of people did. So don't.
Yeah.
It was the norm. It makes it easy. I can just stay in my PJs and watch church online.
Right.
Check that box.
Yeah. And then trying to think, we were here, and I had started kind of developing a friendship with one of the pastors here, coaching basketball and stuff, and so we were kind of starting to feel a little bit linked in, but quietly our lives were a disaster deep down, and eventually, I said earlier that I kind of threw God aside, like I didn't really want him as a part of my life, but pretty sure he wanted me a part of his life. So eventually he. Trying to think, what we started in.
Ended up in Re-Engage.
We started in Re-Engage because again we knew this is just not going well, and we couldn't do it. We just couldn't make it through. It was like the questions were too hard for us to answer honestly, and
we needed help.
We needed the advanced course, and eventually that's that's what happened. And like she says, a lot of pastors. and people here, volunteers. I mean, there's every array of person that you could possibly need in this came alongside of us. I mean, we had pastors that had hard conversations with us. We had volunteers that helped get us into classes to help us with things. We had, and then I had friends here that kind of came alongside of me too.
Wow.
And I'm kind of still in the table here.
That's okay. But,
I mean, I'd say for me, like because I know the follow-up question to that is like, why are you still here? And it's when I first went to my friend was like, hey man, my life's a disaster. Let me lay it out for you. And I was expecting him to come back and be like, yeah, you're a disaster. Like, you need to do this. You need to make sure you look like this. And instead, and I'm not a huggy guy, but he gave me a hug and was like, not that I didn't respect you before, but I respect you that much more now. Yeah. And it was just a reception I wasn't expecting. And so that's kind of kept us here, at least from my side. And yeah, that's kind of that reception alone is kind of the thing that I hope to do for other people. I'm still the guy that's like, I don't really like these churchy things. I don't want to, and I have to force myself to go every week, and I like it. But I don't know that. I think Bill says it best with what does he call it? The language. Christianese, yeah. It's like every time I hear Christianese, I'm like, your head's like, I want out of here, yeah. And
by the way, I think that's a gift though, and I think that's why you are such a great leader where you're at, like, because you're not trying to be something you're not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, and I'm good with that. I'm not going back to trying to look like
I
anything.
know that, but
it's just
I just want to encourage. At least like, because I think sometimes there's people in churches that are like, well, I have to try and be like that person, or be that person. Like, nah, you're just you. And in doing so, I think that's what makes it so genuine and real. So
that reception is, to me, it said that it was like, no, you could just be you, like you're okay with God.
Yeah.
And that kind of changed my perspective.
Wow.
Quite a bit.
Wow.
So
that's so good. All right. Trista, what was your experience like? Obviously, you were going to re-engage, Pastor Josh and crew. And
yeah, we went to re-engage, and it was hard. Like he said, it was hard. I felt like I couldn't answer the questions. Like, it was too deep. I didn't want to throw our stuff out there in front of everybody. It was scary. Yeah. And also they tell you to just really focus on yourself. And so in that time, I'm trying to focus on myself. But it's like our marriage is a mess, and you want help, but you just don't know quite how to get it, And I think our leaders, we dropped out, and she was so sweet. She checked up on me all throughout, Luke and our season of just really having to figure it out. But also, meeting with, Josh and Kelly. And also, like, I had the same reception from one of the pastor's wives, who she just, I called her up and I was like, hey, can you, no, she was sitting in church, and I was like, hey, can you just come over tomorrow? I barely know this woman. Like, I just feel like I need to talk, like, and she came over to my house. She drove all the way out to Bella Vista, where we were living at the time, and just sat there and listened to me just, talk about everything about myself, everything I'd ever done wrong. Like, I don't know if I just needed to, like, get it all out, tell her, all the things about my and Luke's marriage. And, and she just, like, she just looked at me and she gave me a hug, and she's like, God loves you, right? And then she looked at me and she's like, you've been through a lot. Have you forgiven yourself for those things? And just to hear somebody meet you with that much love and grace, kind of what Jesus does,
Yeah.
It was really powerful, and I think that's what has kept Luke and I here, is just the people. I really know how much they love Jesus, and I was like, I want to be like that when I grow up. I want to meet people. I want to be like that to people.
Yeah.
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 I just want people to know how much Jesus loves them.
Yeah.
And as much as Luke doesn't love the churchy things, I do. I love church. I'd probably live here, but I can't. So it's like, I love, and I annoyingly like to talk about Jesus. And I know that, so we're so different, but I think it's good because it keeps me, he can keep me grounded in areas where I'm just
vice
like,
versa.
and vice
healthy.
versa.
You know, it's healthy. It's
really
good. Like,
it
it's
is.
Really, and that's why I love
It's
you
so
guys
good.
serving as a couple too,
Yeah.
which is like,
It's so good, Matt.
That's like,
Yeah.
it makes me, okay, before we talk about where you guys are at now,
Yeah.
like, first off, just, like I said with Luke, with his genuineness towards it, I think it makes me just appreciate the way that you love people.
Yeah.
Because I see you living, like you talk about when I get older, you're living that, you are that person now. Anybody I send you, I know they're going to experience love and grace and truth. And you can't help it. And it really is, it's like the people who have experienced the most grace tend to offer the most grace to people.
Because you know where you've been.
Yeah.
And you're so thankful for where you are.
Yeah.
And what God has done.
And if we all took a piece out of like, man, if Jesus was willing to forgive me of all my stuff, what's causing me to stop loving somebody or to not show grace to somebody else? Man, and if we all adopted that, I think the church would continue to hopefully make an even bigger dent towards where people view the church and like, they're a bunch of judgmental, know-it-all. It's their way, the highway. It's like, no, it's not our way. It's the Lord's way. And trust me, it's better than your way. And if you doubt me, try it. And I guarantee you it's more freeing. But man, okay. So you guys went on this journey of re-engage and really restoring your marriage and restoring that.
Lots of counseling, Matt. Lots of counseling, lots of help.
Who doesn't need that, right?
Yeah.
And your kids are also watching you guys go through that.
Yes.
I don't want to speak for them, but like, what was that like?
Can I tell you? Can I tell
please?
this? Because so Luke and I, we walked at it alone for a little bit. You know, we figured it out. We each had to work on ourselves, you know, and I think our kids watching this, I will never forget, like, I feel like this is just so powerful. Like, Landon comes home and I'm sitting on the couch and like, Luke and I had just been talking, and Landon had been there, but he had left. I can't remember. He had went to work, and he came home, and he's like, Mom, he's like, I see Jesus in Dad. Like, I see Jesus in Dad. Like, it's just, and it was just so powerful because I don't know why, but like, I think our kids watching Luke and I go through this have to struggle, like I have to depend on Jesus literally for everything, because I feel like through this time too, like a lot of our friends fell away. Luke and I, like, we've been here a long time, so there was a lot of gossip about us. I mean, you want to find out our story, you just go ask somebody, you know? So we lost a lot of people, and it was really painful, and it wasn't easy, but I think our kids, like, watching us go through it, like, they had the inside look of like no, like Mom and Dad are seeking Jesus. Like, Mom and Dad are different. Like, they could see it. And so, I don't know. I think it's really powerful because I tell them, like, when your marriage gets tough down the road, like, you know, they have an example. And I'm not saying, like, Luke and I don't have it all figured out. And there are still days when I'll send out that desperate text to that friend, like, hey, please pray for me today. You know, but I think our kids, like, Kellen said, any doubt I had about God is erased.
Whoa.
And that was just like, thank you, Jesus. Like, even that my kids, like, can see, like, what God has done in our life, you know, because it's only the Holy Spirit that changes lives. Like, it's nothing we can do.
Right.
And I think that they got to see that.
That's so good.
And it is, and if it's the only thing good that comes of it, my kids got to see change lives.
Yeah. But it's not the only thing, but it is but it's your ministry. It's your like, it's with your kids, and I think for them to have a better relationship with God because of it. Yeah. Praise God. Yeah. Like for a bunch of young boys, men that you're raising to watch their mom and their dad admit struggles, not a thing they see. The rarity of couples working it out to fight through adversity and pain and brokenness and all of it, to then get to the end result of, no, we are seeking restoration. We are seeking to love, and actually we want to get back to even a better affection that we have with one another. Like, and to see you guys where you are now is truly just it's a miracle. It's admiring. It's astonishing, but at the same time is God's still like he gets all the glory.
He gets the glory.
And also it's not nothing's too big for him to restore. And I think that's, if I could tell someone who's watching or listening to this later, if you're going through something right now that feels so big that you can't do it on your own, perfect, God can. And I think that's like, because I think so many people are facing with hard decisions, things that are dealt with, tough things, tough circumstances. You didn't pick necessarily how you grew up. You guys didn't pick, how you're going to navigate through trauma or brokenness, but you did it, and you're doing it, but it's a humility factor that I just appreciate about you both, to go like, we need help.
We need help. And that's how we got help. I think it took coming to the end of ourselves, knowing like, like we can't do it. And then I don't know, but literally like desperation, right? Like I feel like just desperate for change, desperate for God, like desperate for help anywhere we can find. I think that's why.
Here we go.
Yeah, I think that's why we started throwing our lives out there for all these people at church. And praise God, we were in a place that met us with so much grace. I think Pathway is a huge reason why. I know it's God working through these people, but that's what he does, right? He works through people.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why Luke and I are able to.
Well, we just kept waiting for the day when they were just going to kick us out, because it's like at this point we're just the problem children.
I didn't go away.
From this pastor
I kept
to this pastor to this
and
person, and there was definitely
and then you let us help, Matt. So thanks.
Yeah.
And then you let us help.
And then
are you sure? Are you sure?
You basically said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Because I met you guys, and I was like, these guys are awesome. And I knew there was obviously a lot of story. I didn't know all the great details but I knew we talked, and you're like, well, I don't know if before you say yes, you need to know some things. I remember you telling me that in Starbucks. But I think part of what I was after was I just saw how God had restored so much. I didn't even know it, but I just saw like, and you guys just needed an invitation to step into something to like, not just go to church, but a chance to be the church. Yeah. And there's different seasons. Like you guys were in a season of coming and just needing to heal. And what I saw when I met you guys was you guys were in that place of it's time. You guys were ready for something.
Yes.
Ready to take a step. And what I loved about this area that we guys were serving in is you guys were able to do it together. Yeah. Which so often people serve, and it's great to serve and do your thing and your giftings. And originally we talked about maybe getting you guys in junior high and throwing dodgeballs at kids. And you was like, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fun. And then this opportunity of like housing young adults. And you have a lot of people who are dating in your ministry. You got people that are like ready to get engaged in your ministry. You got a lot of people. And so talk to me about like, when you guys said yes, what was that like? Because obviously that was a scary decision to say. And then you have me coming and not trying to manipulate, really just like, here's an invitation. You guys choose if this is something you guys want to do. What made you guys go, okay, this is the right fit for us? Well,
I mean, before we move on to that, let's not brush over that you called her old right before it got deep.
Did I? What did I say?
What?
When you said that when you grow up and you're older, you want to do these things, you said you're already doing them. So subtly you called her old.
I just she was old. Don't put that
in
on Ricky Bobby.
I just gotta throw that out. I'm just messing with you.
I cannot. Okay.
40's not old. If that's old, then I'm approaching it way too quickly. Okay?
I just want to remind you that you're 2 months older than me.
You know what I meant.
I do. In fact, that just like went over my head. But I told you he's trouble.
Yeah, that's right. He's always looking for the way out. Yep, yes. Causing problems. Yes. Anyways.
I warned you.
I warned you.
Well, no, like you said, when you, well, I think you did a sermon and you put out like a flyer questionnaire or something where we filled out.
Oh, it was like this. About serving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And step up to serve.
And we'd kind of been talking about that previous to that, and so it was already kind of on our minds. And then I think after the sermon, like I started filling one out, and you were like surprised that I was interested in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was surprised I was interested in it. So I can't remember. We had a couple that crossed over, but like, so we first talked about junior high, and it's like, well, I'm, a lot of days I feel like I'm in junior high, so sure,
that's a natural fit.
Seems like a fit. Yeah, but no. And then when you brought up young adults, though, that was I think that for both of us, that seemed more of like no, this makes more sense for us, and for me, it was that reception I talked about was like, this is the perfect opportunity, like, to give others that reception, because I already feel like I'm just a disaster anyway. So if you tell me something or you come to me and you think you're such a wreck,
it's shock
like,
you. Yeah,
I'm good. Like, I can handle it. So yeah, and it's kind of been a little bit of that. Like, you hear some of these guys' stories, and they just think they're hopeless or whatever. But it's, I don't know. For me, it doesn't feel that way at all. I'm like, no, you're doing way better than I was doing. So great.
Keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, and yeah, obviously I like that we get to do it together. So
Me too. Yeah.
What about you, Trista? What was that like, saying yes to this, and then what's it been like, doing it together?
It's been great. I think it was. I was really excited about it, but also really scared too, because I don't know it. Yeah, it's something new, and I think new things sometimes are scary. And so, but it's been good. And I think I love having those young adults come and sit in our home, every other Thursday. It's been so good. I think we learn from them too.
Absolutely.
The things that they say, like, sometimes, and just, it's amazing to me. So I think Luke and I, we both love it. And it's also like, it's fun to see each other in that environment, like to hear him and like the things that he'll say, to these girls. And we have a lot of girls in our group. So
if you're a young adult man and you're looking for somebody,
Thursday
nights, Luke and Trista's.
Yeah. Oh, they are like, seem to be pairing off quickly.
Yeah, they're dropping like flies.
They're dropping like flies. That's what I'm telling you. So
Pastor Bill's sermons
quickly.
Are coming out, and they're all having girlfriends now. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
But that's fun too.
Absolutely.
To watch. And then we do have one guy that comes, and it's just fun to watch them grow, and the growth that you see in them too, just from keep pressing into community and keep seeking Jesus. And Luke and I just get to be, an encouragement to them, is basically, and somebody to listen to them.
Yeah.
And help them to be confident in their choices, because when we're trusting Jesus, we can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I don't know, we love listening to them and getting to know them.
Yeah. Well, they love, all the time, as I hear how much they love and appreciate you both. And
Thanks.
The Thursday, and you were really kind of preparing these young adults for life.
Yes.
Because some of them are talking about moving up to school, and they're all about getting engaged and stepping into these different steps of careers and and you name it, all of it. But I love that they're connected. They feel known at church. They're going to church. And then I know you guys are always encouraging them to get plugged in and serve and do all the things. And they're doing it.
They are.
And their lives they're building those habits and those rhythms of not trying to earn God's grace, but out of overflow of blessing. We're gonna have blessing to give. And we get to be a blessing because of the blessings we've already been given. So it's been powerful to watch them serve in kids, serve on worship, serve in junior high, serve. And some of them aren't yet serving. I'm excited about when they do start serving, but I appreciate you guys, because that was new when we launched that small group. You guys were one of the first people who had done it, and then because of what you guys have started, now we're doing that for our adult ministries, and
That's
all
cool.
of Pathway is starting to get in, because we know the power of when you do life with other people. Man, it's just, there's like you said, the reception is there, a chance to be known is there, and like you said, it makes a big church start to feel not that big.
It does,
and you're like, and people aren't judging me for all my stuff. They're encouraging me. They're not leaving me where they found me. Like Jesus says, they're pulling me towards Him.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess my my last question I have for you both would be like, hey, for someone who is maybe navigating through stuff or is on the fence about maybe stepping a foot at Pathway, or maybe they've been coming to Pathway, slipping in and slipping out like you guys did, or checking fantasy sports like I do sometimes, going to the bathroom, whatever you gotta do. How would you encourage them? What would you say to someone who's maybe like on the fence, looking in, going like, that stuff feels really churchy, feels really scary? What would you say to them to maybe encourage them with?
I think what I would say to them is just, when we hear Bill say it a lot, but is take that first step of faith, and let God, and trust God with the outcome of what that's going to be like. Just take that first step of putting yourself out there, showing up at church, even if it is like going to the back row, You're there. You're there. You're hearing those messages. Yeah. So I think just taking the first step.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
What would you say?
I feel your pain. No, I mean, it's yeah, I guess taking that step was, for me, it was weird because I didn't really want to take it, and yet I just kept doing it. So it's I guess putting yourself in that situation where maybe you physically don't want to do it, but deep down you know it feels right.
Yeah.
And
Doing it scared.
yeah,
Ooh, that's good.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, most of the things that are right in this world don't come easy.
No.
There usually takes a effort of, a step of faith, stepping out of fear, all that kind of stuff to go like, and work. Like it takes work. You know, it can be scary to be known and let people in on how and be vulnerable about the struggles of our life, right? We don't want to look dumb or appear weak or like we don't have our stuff together. But that's the lie, because none of us are put together, right?
Yeah.
I love that too. Just take the step. Yeah. So whatever that next step is for people, take it. And everyone's step is different. Some people, their first step needs to be care coaching. Your first step is to heal. Like you guys coming in to jump in and start serving would not have been a good fit.
Well, that would have been a disaster, man.
They would not have gone well.
No.
But to get in but some people do come in their brokenness and go like, I need to heal. No, you need to be healed and let God heal you. And
So
then
true.
from that place of healing, then it's like the blind trying to lead the blind. It doesn't work.
No, you don't have anything to give.
You don't have anything to give. And even now, only what we have to give is what God has given us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's
we don't want to leave that part
Yeah.
out. We're still a disaster. just a much more
But we
organized
know
disaster.
we need Jesus. And I
Yeah.
tell the kids that all the time, actually. Like, I think I'm the most needy person in the whole world, but and I must be really annoying to God, but I think that's okay, because I think he wants us to be so dependent on him for everything.
That's true.
Well, it's
I think that's true.
I always think about the behind the scenes look. So none of the kids in our group know this. I guess they'll know now if they listen to this. But
They're gonna listen.
like it can be chaos before we do this, or it's
Yeah.
just like Sunday morning. It's like we go to church at 11:15. Somehow we're almost not ready every single time. But then afterwards, we feel refreshed, and it's like, I'm really glad we did that.
Yeah.
But I mean, multiple times it's like,
But I
Are
think
we-
it's the
are we re-
enemy
are we
too.
really
Tries to
doing this
create
tonight? Yeah.
chaos and like trying to get in there before you do something.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I tell you,
Yeah.
just getting to church sometimes is the biggest battle.
Yeah.
Because it's, which is why we moved. My house is so close, so I can just.
We did
Ours
the
is
same.
now as well.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, because it's amazing even how proximity can be a reason to not go.
Yeah,
It's,
totally.
I was too far. My kids are having a bad day. Whatever, and I get it. I've been there.
Yeah.
Even on staff, I've been there. It's like I don't really want to, but it's amazing. Like you said, when you go and you recognize our need, the church does not need something from us.
Yeah.
The church is for us, and the blessing of the church, to be that body, to be that encouragement, to be that space that people can come and you link arms with people that are headed in the right direction as you, the same direction. They're moving forward. They're drawing closer. And by sharing your faith, like even what you guys are doing now, sharing your testimony, your faith, I know will help somebody. And they might even run up to you guys on the weekend and go, hey, thank you. Thank you for being bold and sharing your story. And you might empower some couples to be willing to admit their faults and seek re-engage or seek care coaching or seek just being vulnerable with somebody. And there's power in that. So guys, thank you so much for taking time to come and just be vulnerable, be transparent, but also like we said earlier, I think before we prayed, we said this is all God's story. This is God's story. And as broken as we all can still be, he's still the one who has knit us together and is re-identifying us and relabeling and making us into a new creation. And so I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
We love you guys
thanks,
so
Matt.
much. Yeah.